Hey guys, this is Community Starcraft. I'm your host, Sidewinder. Welcome back to the show match between WhiteRa and WhiteDIMAGA, as we can see our two players here. This particular game is going to be on Shakuras Plateau. It's going to be in cross positions, and we'll see exactly what happens in this one after the two interesting games that have preceded it. If you've not seen those other two games, go ahead and go back and watch that, because they were pretty interesting games actually. The game 2 in particular was really strange, so I urge you guys to go ahead and watch that. As you can see, it looks like this is just a King of the Hill hosted by some random site here, so considering they are providing this replay, go ahead and check that site out. It's probably pretty cool if they're hosting show matches between these two kinds of players. And it looks like WhiteRa wants to open up with a Forge Fast Expand, which is very normal on this map. Let's get the production tab up and see what's happening. So far, WhiteDIMAGA has gone for two different builds in this. He's gone for a pool on 13, and then in the second game he actually went for a hatchery first and held off WhiteRa's cheese, which was a really strange cannon rush, which didn't work at all. WhiteDIMAGA handled it just fine, pulled all of his drones to hold that off, and WhiteRa was actually trying to use a little bit of a trick that I've seen Jinro try to use, and Jinro is actually a Terran player. WhiteDIMAGA's spawning pool going down on 14 here. Jinro usually likes to make a bunker in these really strange places right here and then sit a marine behind it while the bunker is building, so it can't be hit. And I think WhiteRa was trying to emulate that by dropping a couple 2 to 3 pylons and then a cannon right behind it to just bug whatever expansion might be here or whatever units might be trying to come down the ramp. So I believe that's what the origin of that was. I don't know that Jinro really popularized that, but that was the first time I'd ever seen it. And Jinro tried to pull that off with a Reaper and a bunker. WhiteRa is actually going Nexus first. He still does not have his Forge down. He's on 17 supply, so it looks like he's fairly confident he's able to get this wall up and his cannon ready before WhiteDIMAGA has any Zerglings reporting to his base. WhiteRa is just bugging WhiteDIMAGA right now, trying to prevent that hatchery from going down, and WhiteDIMAGA should be able to get it now. As you can see it dropping right there. 4 Zerglings should be on the way, which is very normal. Queen on the way as well to start connecting the creep and spitting up larvae so that WhiteDIMAGA can increase his production. This probe is really going to die, getting greedy, as these Zerglings will be able to chase it around. And this probe has actually not been hit yet, so that is definitely WhiteRa's special tactics, as a lot of people like to say. And it's him really being fancy with his probe. What he's kind of doing here is buying a little bit of time, running around and wasting WhiteDIMAGA's time so this cannon can get up in time to fend off these Zerglings. WhiteDIMAGA actually has 2 Overlords out, which will be getting some good scouting information, and one Zergling is going to come up here and see that the wall is actually not closed off, so he should be able to get in here and actually get a decent amount of scouting information. No, WhiteDIMAGA, you're going to lose your Zergling! Ah, that Zergling could have gotten in here, bugged some probes, and you could see him, he's very upset about that. That is, of course, the crying face of, oh no, I can't believe I did that. And yeah, that was pretty bad, WhiteDIMAGA. He could have gotten in here, had his Zergling running around for a really long time, being annoying, able to scout for a really long time in there. Instead, WhiteDIMAGA is going to take a quick 3rd hatchery, as we can see right here. Very, very fast hatchery. It looks like that started about 440, somewhere in that range, maybe a little bit early. I can't believe this probe is still alive, though. This probe has really gotten away from a lot of Zergling harassment, and it might make it home. There's actually a small opening right here that things can get through, but WhiteDIMAGA just runs away instead. WhiteRa is now dropping a Stargate, which again is very normal in this matchup nowadays, considering Protoss have learned how to fight off those roach pushes, which is basically getting a unit out that the roach just can't fight. Checking around, we're not going to see a whole lot going on here from either of these players. More droning going on from WhiteDIMAGA. He's actually on no gas. And he's now on 44 supply. So I'd imagine he's going to be taking all of his gases fairly soon. But he's staying on no gas so he can get his hatcheries up faster, so he can get drones out faster, and he's not going to be spending really anything on gas anyway. So there's not much of a reason for him to do that. Here comes the second Stargate from WhiteRa, which is... where is it? Oh, it's right here at the front door. So WhiteRa is going to be on 2 Stargates pretty fast, which is a pretty big committal into that. But he may... I don't know if WhiteRa's actually seen this base over here. No, he hasn't. That's what I would think would prompt the second Stargate, is to put out like 2 or 3 Void Rays, send them over there, and cancel this hatchery if you possibly can. considering WhiteRa is not going to have anything on the way. WhiteRa is actually getting +1 air attack, so it looks like WhiteRa really wants to commit to a Stargate fleet here and fight WhiteDIMAGA with that instead of the typical Colossus stuff that you usually see. WhiteRa should probably start another Void Ray, and yes, he does. That second Stargate. This Stargate is about to be done producing, so he needs to start something else if that's what he's really wanting to do. He does not quite have the minerals yet. It could be Phoenix, or it could just be waiting for another Void Ray to start. And indeed, it is another Void Ray, so he's rallying all these to his first Void Ray. He's ready to go out and start canceling expansions. And considering WhiteDIMAGA did not get his gas until now, he's not even on lair tech yet. He's showing a proxy, or rather a macro hatch here, so he can commit to possibly a lot of Zerglings. WhiteDIMAGA might be in a little bit of trouble here. Here comes WhiteRa's first Void Ray. It's obviously going to lose, or at least tie with this Queen pretty close if the two fight each other. There's very subtle circumstances that will determine the outcome of that battle. But since WhiteRa has more forces rallying here in just a moment, he should be able to handle this just fine. WhiteDIMAGA has actually seen the Void Ray since this Void Ray was charged. I believe it was just killing an Overlord over here. So WhiteDIMAGA's lair is just now coming up, and there's going to be some Spore Crawlers coming up here at these bases. The Void Ray takes a couple of hits and decides to get out of there, as him and the Queen must have gotten into a fight. 3 Void Rays rallying in the middle of the map, and they're all together now. These 3 Void Rays are actually pretty scary right now. WhiteDIMAGA is really might be punished pretty hard for not getting his lair until now. He's not going to have Hydralisk out for at least another couple of minutes, and WhiteDIMAGA will have to rely on these Spore Crawlers doing enough work for him to fight off these Void Rays. But 4 Void Rays versus Spore Crawlers and a Queen or 2 is such an unfair fight in favor of the Void Rays, excuse me. Up comes WhiteRa's third. This is a pretty fast third, so he's going to go ahead and take that while his Void Rays have map control. There's a couple more Phoenix that are going to be coming out here, which will fight. Holy cow! There's a fleet beacon coming down for WhiteRa. And these Void Rays are now pressing in here pretty hard. They're going to be charging up on this geyser. As you can see, most of them are at either 3-3 or 2 out of 3 levels of charge. Down goes the Spore Crawler. Phoenixes are going to come up here and lift a couple of these Queens, and these Queens are going to die so easily. So up comes the third Queen. WhiteDIMAGA is in so much trouble right now. WhiteRa has complete free reign over this base. He's targeting down the lair, and he is going to get it. So he's going to lose the lair. The Spire is not even close to being done yet. As we can see, there's Spore Crawlers in the back here that are not firing at anything. Down goes WhiteDIMAGA's lair. He is so far behind right now that it is actually completely ridiculous. Fortunately enough for him, his macro hatch is actually still here, so he's not losing at least as much mining time as he normally would. A ton of drones are falling. Overlords are falling. WhiteDIMAGA is in a world of hurt right now. Carrier is on the way for WhiteRa, so you can see carriers coming out here at this Stargate. WhiteRa is using these 5 Void Rays and 5 Phoenix to great effect, so you can see here, and again, this is what you get if you're Zerg and you're getting too greedy by taking this fast third and not getting your gas and your lair up in time. WhiteDIMAGA just has nothing to answer this. There's 7 mutas coming out right now, and WhiteRa probably has an inkling that those are definitely army units, so he's kind of sitting back here, making sure that he's charged. Queens are now pressing up here, and these Queens may just be badly timed because WhiteRa can lift them all up, as we can see here, and focus them down one at a time. He needs to be careful not losing any Void Rays. He does pull the hurt one away. Mutas are going to spawn behind it, as we can see them almost done. Out they come, and the Phoenix are actually going to clean up these mutas pretty easily. So these mutas are still charged. WhiteDIMAGA has to say good game and quit out before any carriers hit the field. So yeah, that's what happens to Zerg if they get too greedy and don't take any gas. WhiteRa kind of defaulted into a build order win there once he'd put those 2 Stargates up and started getting these Void Rays out as soon as possible. Pretty interesting build there, and WhiteDIMAGA just had no answer for it. WhiteRa just really cleaned his clock there pretty badly, and he was actually on 3 bases really fast, so interesting game there. We're going to go straight into Game 4. WhiteRa is now up 2-1 in this series. It is a best-of-5 show match, so I'll join you in the next game in just a moment.